أريد من هذا الشعب إلا أن يزيد في الحمد والشكر إلى الله عز وجل، ويزيد من محبة الوطن، ويزيد من العمل ومضاعفة العمل لما يسعى فيه من خير له وللدولة والأهل. هذا اللي أنا أدوره من الشعب، وربنا إن شاء الله يوفقنا جميعا على ما يحب ويرضى.
I'd like to thank the leaders of the United Arab Emirates. For us, your country gives us a great chance to build our company here. There are excellent business conditions to grow a sustainable business here. Great chance for us as a family business. We are employing more than 1,200 employees now here, and I would like to thank you for your vision, your kindness, your friendliness, and the joy you give us as entrepreneurs here. We like to pass that on not only to our clients but also to our employees and bring joy and happiness to them. Thank you to you.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Peers of Union. So legacies are built to last, and Unger Steel is a proof of that. Today we sit with the CEO of one of Europe's leading steel construction companies, with the home right in the UAE. I'm pleased to welcome Mr. Matthias Unger. Welcome to Peers of Union, Mr. Matthias.
Very good. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Mr. Matthias, if you please could tell us more about your personal experience and how did you start, and plus your professional experience as well.
Well, I'm Matthias Unger. I'm the third family generation of company Unger Steel Group. I personally grew up in a little city in Oberwart. That's also our headquarters and still is our headquarters. And throughout my career, I obtained a bachelor's degree in engineering, a master's degree in business administration. But what shaped me most is also the personal experience. I remember when I was a little boy, I was with my bike on our construction site in Oberwart, and I put two steel beams over it and then a plate above it, and that I used that for jumping with my bike over it. And all that happened on our plot where we have now the factory. So growing up, I had a very strong emotional relation with the family business. So that shaped me, and then I obtained all the education, and I grew step by step. And then later on, I would say I had learned a third from my father, as it's still lots of his values are in the company. I learned 1/3 from him. 1/3 from the employees, because they obviously grew the company and it's very process orientated. So I learned from them. And 1/3 I brought in from my own personal experiences. I did part of my educations overseas, international. So, and also through that network among young Austrian leaders, I brought in 1/3 of that knowledge, and that's how the company.
And you know, like for sure, like growing up and taking the CEO of like such a younger steel company, which was, you were the third generation. How was it? How was the long way? What made you decide that, okay, today I want to be the CEO of this company?
Well, yes and no. So, being born in that family gives you lots of opportunities. And as I said, as a young boy, I had this emotional experience. But as I grew older, I also wanted to spend time outside of the company, also in different industries, but always working, always pushing, and always learning. So I got experience in different industries. And later on, as my education was about to finish, I also made some internships in other steel companies in Northern Europe, in Finland, internationally in Germany, in the United States. So all of this international experience, and after that international journey, I made the decision to join the family business.
So, like for you, you had to go a lot in this life in order to make sure that you're going to take all the responsibilities in Unger Steel and to be able to handle it all.
Yes, well, it's true. You need to see other industries, how other people work, also different cultures, so that I can make my own decision.
So what was your vision throughout this life?
The vision was, my professional vision was shaped later on when I joined the company. But I always wanted to learn and to get to know new things, new people, new industries. Because no matter which industry you go in, it's always people you have to deal with. Yes. And what I've learned there, the most important thing in business is finding the right partner. It's not the education, not the ROIs or all the steel criteria. It's always about the people and finding the right partners.
Mr. Matthias, tell me more about how you will give a credit for those who have supported you. And who was the first person you told them that you want to work for Unger Steel? And how was even the reaction as well?
Well, that was definitely a family decision. It was definitely my father who was the first one I told that I wanted to join the company and work more intensively in that company. But then over time, we drafted a plan also for my succession. There were 3 stages of it. First, there was the introductory phase, where I got to know all the different segments of the business, all the different business units. So I made sort of an internal rotation, sales, marketing, project management, also spending time in different production locations, like here in the Emirates, also in Germany. That was sort of the first phase. The second phase was where I could prove myself. That was also the phase here, where I had the responsibility here for the production here in Sharjah, where we currently employ 1,200 employees. That was the second phase, and the third phase was then a joint leadership of the company, where I was the managing director, my father was the CEO, and since January 2020, I have the chance to be the CEO and run the business myself.
And now let's talk more about Unger Steel as a business. So what are the services that you provide? And I would like to know how many different branches do you have, and why did you even choose the UAE as the home for Unger Steel?
That's correct. We do have 3 business units. There is steel, general contracting, and real estate. Steel, obviously the biggest business units. In steel, we focus on architectural steel. For example, we did the Formula One here in Abu Dhabi, or the Mall of the Emirates, the cupola for Mall of the Emirates. So this is more architectural steel than structural steel. This is more where we go into fabrication plants or LNG centers where we do that steel for that. And then there's the general contracting, where we not only do the steel, we do the civil works, MEP works, mechanical and electrical, and all that. And the third business unit is the real estate, where we not only build the building, we build it and lease it out to a tenant for a period of minimum 10 years, and we hold the building. So here the financing and is the additional business. So all of these business units work closely together. That's the nice thing, that we have all those 3 business units under one brand. We have same or similar engineers, so that what the client wants to know in real estate, the general contracting could give the answer. So steel is the base for everything. General contracting deals with the whole building, and real estate is the last form where we do also the financing. All of these together are our business units, and as mentioned here, the Sharjah facility is our biggest facility with an annual output of more than 60,000 tons of steel. Here, this is a production which is emphasized on size. So we employ 1,200 employees with very linear production processes, and with the same quality we have in two of our other production shops. The first production shop is in Austria, which is still our headquarter, and there's a smaller construction shop also in Germany. But as said, this here in the Middle East is the biggest one of the group.
And speaking about Unger Steel, as we mentioned before, it's like a generational company. And going through from a generational to a generational, what the skills that you have built and how have you managed to make sure, like there's a generational difference between you and the older generation. How have you developed yourself, but in the meantime you have kept the power and the magic of the same generation?
Well, I think it's a combination of everything. You need to start with the employees there are, develop them, and also mix it with young talent. We know that the best combination is of young talent with some experienced employees. Like my father was the experienced guy, and me as a young guy who wants to learn, who doesn't know a lot, but wants to learn and is ambitious. That's a very good combination. Yeah. I think that's one base. And the Unger Group, we are known for, or the backbone of our success is our employees, which have an average stay time at our company for on 15 to 17 years. So people, when they are with Unger, they stay with the company, and we give them chance to nourish and to also bring in their own ideas and freedom also to develop on their personality. But at the same time, like in a family, it's very much like a family, there are certain boundaries which they have to keep and work in. But within these boundaries, they have the freedom also to come up with their own ideas. So that's what the people appreciate and what they like.
And speaking about your services that you provide at Unger Steel, could you tell us more about how do you make sure that you deliver the best results to your clients without any delays, and like to provide like a smoothly process as well?
One key argument is traceability. We trace every single part. We know every single part, who bought it from where, from which mill, and then who processed it through all the different processes like cutting, drilling, fitting, welding, and then also shipment. So traceability is a big issue, is a key of our success. We do even have our own Unger identification code, UIC as we call it. So by having that, we can trace every single part. And then with the digital support, that's possible to trace all this material. And one key success is definitely building information modeling. Everything is done in three-dimensional models. So by having that, we can also share the model with our clients and work together on it. And yeah, this is definitely a key success.
And as we know that Unger Steel is known for its use of digitalization and BIM technology. So how have these tools has changed the way you work and the quality you deliver to your clients?
They changed over time. Definitely when we started first, my grandfather used different methods. Now we're using more digitalization. But one thing which stayed the same is the quality. We want to be known as the quality leader also, and as the trust leader in our industry. Interestingly enough, in the steel industry, digitalization of three-dimensional models was used already in the 90s. And with the help of ERP system, we could invent the system of traceability. And we used lots of standards from ISO, so of ways of working together. We not only use it as a certificate. For us, this is a management tool. And what has definitely changed over the generations is the way we work in processes. I'm very process orientated. By having that, it's easier to replace also, or new employees can learn easier by learning those processes. And I think this will also be the future. It will be more digitalization, more sustainability, and more traceability.
And as we were speaking, you have mentioned that you did many projects in 40 different countries. So could you please tell us more about how did you manage to build the trust? And how have you even maintained the strong reputation on a global scale as well?
Well, the answer it sounds quite simple.
Yeah.
It's quality.
Okay.
And it sounds simple, but it's hard to get it. In construction industry, you build this trust over a long period of time. You can lose it very quickly. And by that, it's always our engineers, they learn project by project. And by having that knowledge from previous project, they can use in the new project. That's why I said the backbone of our success are the employees, but it's also the processes. And we keep that by maintaining our values. For me, just one small detail, whenever somebody joins the company, after their probation period, I go with them on a lunch together. Okay. So for them to understand the values of the company. For me, it's important that they not only read it in our catalog and in our guidelines, and to believe it and to hear it from myself as the family owner, as the leader, and to go with them in an exchange. Maybe they also have different ideas. That's why I said within their guidelines and boundaries, they can also bring in their own ideas. So respect and treating people fairly and giving them a chance to develop also their personality skills.
Mr. Matthias, if you could tell me more about how Unger Steel has managed to go approaching these challenges, the obstacles as well, especially through the construction field as well.
Well, there were lots of changes over the last years. For me personally, the biggest challenge was definitely in 2020. I became CEO in the January of 2020. Okay. And in March 2020, we had the lockdown because of the COVID times. So we had to react quickly and bring in external computers, and so that people could work from home in the office. And at the same time, we had to make sure that the production continues running and operating. And I remember we had business meetings on the weekends where we came together, and this was a challenge, but at the same time also a good chance for me to grow into that business, to act sort of a crisis manager. And I feel at that time the people came closer together, also came closer towards me, because this was also a generation change. And the way we handled it and kept the operation going was very impressive, and we came stronger out of this crisis. And I always say, never waste a good crisis, because through a crisis you can grow. And we definitely did. And definitely it was also, when we speak of the European operations, also 2022 was a challenge when when the construction prices rose. But it's also the key is in communicating with your client, with your suppliers, very openly and very upfront. So by forming those partnerships, you can rely on them also in the bad times. So, and I think, as I said, the most important thing in business is partnerships.
And Mr. Matthias, let's talk more about, as the CEO of Unger Steel, what is your plans for the future, and what's your vision for Unger Steel as well?
I think there are three elements for Unger Steel here in the region. We want to be more international. I think that's always in the mentality of Unger. We want to deliver worldwide, as we are doing already, but also a strong focus here, but also at the same time also locally, because that's also part of our values. We localize, so more international, same as localization. The second one is more sustainable. Steel becomes more and more CO2 less, so more green steel. We are using green steel, which has 70% lesser footprint than the average steel, so it will become more sustainable. We also know if you hold a piece of steel in your hand, we know from history that this part has been recycled 8 times over the history. Okay. So when you go all the way back, because steel is something you can melt, you can reproduce it and dismantle it somewhere else and build it somewhere else. So I believe this sustainability will be a key in the future, and by being more international, more sustainable. The third pillar is more digital. As we see, as always like to say, we are in the century of digitalization. I feel this will become more and more important. We are testing and using robots a lot. So this will be the next step together with AI. Robotics is a big thing in our industry, which we're looking at. So I believe the future will be, as said, more digital, more sustainable, and more international.
I hope so. And what advice would you give to the young professionals? The one that they're building like their career pathway, and the one who wants to go into the steel field and the construction fields as well?
Well, I think the most important thing is to go with your heart, to do what you like, because I think you're only good at these things which you like. Here in the UAE, there is a very strong construction industry. By having such a strong and professional construction industry is a great chance to go into that and to learn from the best, and then take your career from that. In construction industry or in steel especially, it's nice because we are producing tangible goods. You can touch it and feel it. So, as said, go with your heart. Should be a combination of heart and mind, but the most important thing is go with your heart and do what you like and start your career from that.
And finally, Mr. Matthias, if you could please give a message to the UAE leaders.
I'd like to thank the leaders of the United Arab Emirates. For us, your country gives us a great chance to build our company here. There are excellent business conditions to grow a sustainable business here. Great chance for us as a family business. We are employing more than 1,200 employees now here, and I would like to thank you for your vision, your kindness, your friendliness, and the joy you give us as entrepreneurs here. We like to pass that on not only to our clients but also to our employees and bring joy and happiness to them. Thank you to you.
Mr. Matthias Unger, thank you so much for the interview. As they always say, the steel is the backbone of every great structure. And today you have shown us that behind every great structure, there is even a great vision. Thank you so much for such a wonderful interview. Dear viewers, it's time to say a goodbye. Take care and wait for us next week, same time, with another peer to join our Peers of Union.
والله